Hello, everyone. Well, the world has gotten darker since I last spoke with you, if it could possibly get any darker than it already has. It's deep, deep darkness. Why? Because there's been so many attacks on people recently, and it's just really looking bad. It's really looking bad. Um, Iran attacked Israel and they sent over 300 rockets and drones to attack Israel. Israel got 99% of them, but a couple of them got through. One damaged an Air Force base of the Israeli Air Force was damaged, and another attack happened at a Bedouin village, and a Bedouin girl that was 7 years old got hit in the head and was in critical condition at the hospital. So Israel had intercepted all of them, but now Israel has to decide what to do next. Iran is acting real smooth and saying that they consider the matter concluded, that they're suing for peace now that they attacked Israel. And it's a tit for tat thing. You do this, I do that. You do this, I do that. But really, it was Iran that attacked Israel in the first place, called them an evil country. An evil nation was attacked by Iran, and the Iranian people were rallying in the streets for Palestine. That's why they attacked them in the first place, over Palestine, over the Gaza war. So there was a Gaza war, and Iran attacked Israel because of the war in Gaza. And they started it too. Gaza attacked Israel first in October of last year. In October of last year, the Gazans, led by Hamas, attacked Israel. So they started it. And then Israel brought the war to Gaza so that they wouldn't have to put up with that ever again. And then Iran attacked Israel because of the war in Gaza. And now Israel retaliated against them and killed a couple of Iranian generals. And so now Iran is attacking Israel and sent 300 drones and rockets into Israel to try to kill all the people. But they intercepted all of them, and now they're thinking of retaliating. So should Israel retaliate? Yes, if they hit military installations and leave the general populace alone. They should not attack civilians. They should not attack any civilians. They should limit it to Iranian military bases and military personnel that may carry out an attack on Israel. They should limit it to where they think Iran has their bombs hidden and attack those. That's the main thing, is to take out any possible Iranian missiles and Iranian bombs. They should not attack civilians, and they should have limited attacks on the military if possible. Just attack their drones, where they keep their drones stashed, where they keep their drones hidden, and also attack where they keep their missiles and their bombs stashed and their bombs hidden. If they take those out, then they'll be a lot safer. So that's my take. But they shouldn't do nothing, because then they'll look weak in the eyes of their neighbors. These neighbors, they only think about strength through a show of arms. And Iran has already shown that they think of strength as a show of arms. If Israel does nothing, Iran will have gotten away with it, and others will see Israel's weakness and pick on them. They'll see Israel's weakness and they'll pick on them. All of Israel's enemies, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, all of Israel's past and current enemies will pick on them. Maybe even Saudi Arabia. We don't know. All we know is that if Israel does nothing, they'll get picked on because they'll be seen as weak by these others. So they have to make some response, but if they make a response, they should at least take out all of Iran's drones and missiles. That should be their target, so that Iran doesn't have the strength to bomb them ever again. And so, well, not ever again. There's always some way that Iran can get a hold of missiles. Like they have a pipeline coming through Russia right now. Russia has sided with Iran against Israel because Israel is on U.S.'s side and there's a war between U.S. and Russia. Now they're asking for military aid in the House for Israel. And to that they're attaching a bump sticker of $60 billion in aid to Ukraine. They only plan to send $14 billion in aid to Israel and $60 billion in, not 16, 60, $60 billion in aid to Ukraine. So they always have to attach their special favorite country in aid, and they go overboard with the amount of military aid they send to Ukraine. They want to send more than 4 times the amount of aid to Ukraine as Israel. And what has Ukraine ever done for us? Zero, squat, nothing. Ukraine just expects us to take care of them. They're pampered. And I don't think they should be. I don't think they should be because this war going on between Ukraine and Russia, I don't think we should be involved. I really don't think we should be involved. And because Ukraine isn't a member of NATO. They're not a member of NATO, and they can't claim that they are, deserve defense against Russia. Look, if Russia won, then the Ukrainian people would be safe from bombardment. It's true. They're not going to drive the Ukrainians out of their homes. They're just going to claim it like they did during the Cold War as part of their country. And it might not be right, it might be wrong, and it might not be cool like a regular reaction should be, but we shouldn't be getting involved in a war with a superpower like Russia, because Russia could really mess us up with their nuclear weapons. So I think they should stay out of the war in Ukraine. I don't think they should be sending $60 billion in aid to Ukraine. But the war in Israel is different because Israel is our long-term ally, and they really need our help right now. What if they switched it around? What if they switched it around and sent $60 billion in aid to Israel and $14 billion in aid to Ukraine? That might be feasible. But why do the Democrats want to claim so much of our money for Ukraine and so little for Israel? Why are they that way? What's wrong with these guys? And now the Prime Minister of Ireland, of all places, is calling for the recognition of a Palestinian state. He wants to recognize a Palestinian state, and he's opposed to Israel. He's against Israel. He's against Israel, and he wants a pro-Palestinian state. He wants to claim recognition of a Palestinian state. Well, he's legitimizing Hamas and what Hamas did. And I don't think that the Prime Minister of Ireland should be getting involved in any dispute between Palestine and Israel. I think it's none of his business, and he should leave well enough alone, because that's what he should do. That's what he should do, is just leave well enough alone. Some people, they just don't know. They can't handle it. They can't leave well enough alone. So we should be supporting Israel right now with all the support and all the help that we can give them. And leave Ukraine alone, because the faster this war ends, the faster the killing will stop. And so if you allow Russia to claim Ukraine, the killing will stop, and people will be able to stay in their homes, and the killing will stop, and the bloodshed will stop that's going on now constantly. People have forgotten about Ukraine. It's not on the news anymore, but I haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten that they're sending bombs over to Ukraine almost on a daily basis and decimating their country. It's just going to be a heap of rubble when Russia's done with them, unless the war ends sooner. We sent them so much aid that we were able to keep the war going for longer. And Zelensky wanted to keep the war going for a really long time. So he asked for aid to Ukraine so that he could keep the war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, going ad infinitum. And that way he gets to stay in power. You see how that works? And they said that the Ukrainian people are so beloved of him that they would vote for him if they did have an election, but elections have been called off. Notice that. The elections have been called off in Ukraine. They're supposed to still be a democracy, but they've been called off because of the war. So Zelensky rules unimpeded, and we want to send $60 billion in aid for them, for more bombs, so they can explode every single village in Ukraine and Russia and kill everybody. That $60 billion in aid is a death sentence for the Ukrainian people, because they'll keep the war going, and Russia can keep the war going as long as they like. Despite our sanctions against them, they can keep the war going as long as they like. So if they can keep the war going as long as they like, then sending that aid to Ukraine is just going to kill people. It's going to kill people. There won't be any freedom. It'll just be an early grave for everybody in Ukraine. And we want to send more aid to them than to our allies in Israel. Makes no sense to me. I just don't get it. I don't understand that. I don't understand why Democrats refuse to vote for aid to Israel unless they get 4 times as much aid to Ukraine. I don't understand the Democrats. They just need to be placated, I guess. Democrats need to be placated because they don't want to send aid to Israel. They're opposed to Israel defending itself. So they don't like the war in Gaza, and they want an immediate ceasefire. They want to recognize a 2-state solution, meaning that Palestine is their own state, which is the same thing as what the Irish Prime Minister is saying. That's the same thing Biden is saying. Biden, by the way, is Irish. In case you didn't know, he was Irish. So they're gonna Biden is going to recognize Hamas as a legitimate state, even though they attacked Israel so brutally. and were so brutal and took so many hostages. They're going to recognize them now? Huh. So also I want to note that there was an attack. There were two attacks in Australia recently, and I think both of them were in Sydney. But in Sydney, in a mall in Sydney, there was an attacker that stabbed. He stabbed 6 people, and 5 of them were women, and a baby got stabbed, and it went to the hospital. And then there was another stabbing in Australia. This time, I think it was in a church that the people got stabbed there, and so they think that these events are maybe related. That one stabber was inspired by the other stabber, but they're saying that it's not. They're just telling the public that it's not related, but there were 2 stabbings 1 week after the other. So this shows that these attackers, these killers of innocent people, do not need a gun to do their dirty work. They can use a knife, and a knife doesn't have as much range as a gun, and they can get shot more easily if all they have is a knife. But they can still do some damage because people won't be expecting it. People won't be ready for it. They can stab and stab and stab. All people can do is run for their lives, and if they're too slow, they get stabbed. And so, taking guns away isn't necessarily a solution. Sure, a stabber can kill fewer people, but it's a hard thing. It's a really hard thing. What are they going to do now? They're going to come and take away everybody's knives. They're going to take your knives away, so you can't even fix dinner. You can't even get a butcher knife at the store anymore because they're going to take knives away also. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous thinking that the solution to these mass murders is to take away the weapons, because it's the mind where all of this starts. It should be dealing with people's mental health. That's my opinion, that they should be helping people recuperate who are mentally ill, and making it unacceptable for them to do these deeds, and to show publicly that we oppose their actions in the strongest possible terms. Because these people aren't afraid to die. In fact, they would rather die than get caught and taken to prison where they'll spend the rest of their lives in misery. They would rather die. So the death penalty won't be a deterrent to them. They would just love that. They would love that. And so, all these crazy things happening in the world just within the space of 1 week. And I don't know what to say, folks. I don't know what to tell you, because it's not looking good. It's looking really grim. It's looking grim for us. But if we hold on, and if we support Israel and show our support for Israel and stand up to these bullies on the left end of the spectrum, I think that we can pull through this. I think we can pull through this vicious attack on Israel. I'm Sarah Jane Alphawolf signing off. You guys have a terrific week, and show your support for Israel however you can.